Hello, welcome back to A.D.H.D Knitter and Crocheter. I'm your host, Jennifer. This is a podcast about knitting, crochet, fiber arts. So if you like this, please like and subscribe. And today I'm talking about finished objects. Sorry, this is a little interesting because my cat is sitting. I have this on a table and he's sitting like right next to the camera stand, looking at me like I'm completely nuts. But that's a normal thing for him to do. So I got a few finished objects for you. One of the things I've been working on, I believe I showed you my daughter's slippers last time. So I got my son's pair finished. Unfortunately, this is all we can find right now. We have one orange slipper. So this is his slipper I made. It's made out of Karen Simply Soft. And it fits him pretty good. So I finished that. The pattern is Pamela's Adoring Crochet, her crochet slipper tutorial. You can also buy her pattern on Etsy, which is what I did because with garments, I don't like... Sorry about the camera shake. Okay. Sorry about that. He's getting into my yarn basket. I have the Christmas tree skirt in a laundry basket, like under that table, and he loves the yarn. So he is now in the laundry basket, kneading his clothes like crazy. And I'm pretty sure it's a type of yarn that fuzzes up easily, so I should get him out, but he'll be quiet. But anyway, so Pamela's Adoring Crochet. This is her slipper pattern. This is for the adult small, so that's what this size is. And then I decided I made my... Okay, let's go back to first starting, taking back up knitting and crochet again after many, many years of not doing it. One Christmas, I decided to knit my mom a pair of socks, which that was the only pair of socks I ever made her. Well, I made her 2 pairs, but after that is like, no, because she does not like to wear socks. And she'll wear them at Christmas I made her a Christmas pair. She'll wear the Christmas pair at Christmas to make me happy. And what she does is she puts a regular pair of socks, like store-bought socks, on underneath them and wear them over them. And she's happy that way. She's like, the little bumps bother her feet. So, but anyway, so that year I finished up her slippers and I had my knitting loom with me and some chunky weight. This is back when there's still chunky weight. And it's like a 5 weight of some camo yarn. So I made my husband a pair of loom knit slippers, which he likes. They just come off his feet easily and they don't fit real good. They're not made real well. Can't imagine why. Some people can make loom knit socks and slippers that fit like really good. I'm not one of those. I like my socks that I make on the loom, but I either make them too loose or too tight. And these were too loose. He still wears them. They fall off his feet. They don't fit very well. So, I went to Hobby Lobby and got some yarn to make his coworker a hat. Well, the coworker wanted the Red Heart Super Saver, the one hat I showed. No, I didn't show you because I gave it away before I showed you. Sorry about that. So I made him my hunting hat pattern. And it's in my Raverly store. It's in my Etsy store. The pattern is. But I made that for him and I crocheted it in Red Heart Super Saver camouflage because it had darker, instead of like this light color, really light color, it had a much darker color. So it was more blended. But so I still had this yarn and we like camo, but nobody wears it except him. So I don't use it that much, so I wanted to use it. So I made him a pair of slippers. This is Pamela's Adoring Crochet, her slipper pattern. This size is the large. It's 10 inches long. And I made the cuffs a little taller because he wanted them a little taller. So you can see that. It's very easy and very simple. It fits his foot great. And of course I made 2 of them. Here's the 2 slippers. So there's these. And as you can tell, the pulling on both of them is different. So my tension changed at some point. But that's okay. We don't care. They're slippers. The yarn is out of my stash. Well, I have a full skein. This is what I have left. So this will probably be granny squares. Go in some granny square blanket. Crochet hook, really. So those 2 I made. And the next thing I made is several months in the making. Because back in June, yeah, it was so about May or June, somebody put their entire pattern collection on sale on Etsy. No, Raverly. And you can buy all the patterns for $9.99, which is a great deal because there's like 50 patterns or something of amigurumi in there. So I bought it, and I started working on the Mushroom Man, which is this guy. Hello. Anyway, so I got up to his neck, and I started working on his head. Instead of it going out and around like this, it was like this right here, like that wide. And I have no idea what I was thinking when I was working on the pattern, why I didn't increase, why I didn't do like all the things I was supposed to. But I was working on it. I looked at it and I'm like, that's not right. So needless to say, I got frustrated and I tossed it in my trunk of doom, which is my trunk that I told you about yesterday that has all my whips in it. It's where I keep everything. And it went in there for several months. Well, I started going through and trying to finish up some stuff, and my one son kept bugging me for a mushroom. I still haven't made said mushroom. So far, he's been happy with Toad. Because if anybody anybody knows me, which I have mentioned this, that I'm a gamer. I've been a gamer since I got my first Nintendo system at age 6 or 7, which was back in the 80s, because I was 87, 86, somewhere in there. And Super Mario Brothers came with it, and it was the first game I started playing. And Toad is one of the little side characters in it. He's a little mushroom man. And so Toad's pants are red, his shirt's white, he has no sleeves, and he has red and white spots on his mushroom cap. So I made this little guy look like Toad. He's actually pretty simple after I figured out what the heck I was doing wrong with the head. And then it was pretty smooth sailing. The pattern showed his head a lot more rounded. So I don't know what I did there. I followed the directions, but his head's a little flatter, but that's okay because Toad's head's a little wide, so it works okay. As you can tell, it's a little wobbly. I don't have anything in there to keep his neck supported. I figure the kids will be playing with him, throwing him around, so I'm not going to worry about it. But yeah, that's one of my first people amigurumi I've ever made. But yeah, it's just made out of some red heart I had in my stash and some eyeballs that I had gotten. So that's my little Toad that I finished. As you can see, you can make him wave. So yeah. But yeah, this is Mushroom Man Toad. And that's all I really have done. I got several things in progress. More than several things. I started some new stuff and all that because that's how I am. I woke up this morning with a migraine. So if you don't know, I suffer from migraines. I have all my life. So sometimes there's triggers because of my allergies. I sometimes have stuff trigger. I'm not allergic to peanuts. Don't worry about that. I'm not allergic to peanuts. I have much weirder allergies. And one of them, okay, so you get to hear this, but one of my allergies, some people are allergic to gluten and stuff like that. I'm allergic to milk, which is not lactose. I'm not allergic to lactose. I'm not lactose intolerant. I can eat lactose. There's something else in milk that when I was a kid, I'd eat milk and I'd break out in a rash. And that's gone away over time, fortunately. I can still eat it, but it congests me up and all that in my head. And I have to be careful and not eat too much. And then I also have a chocolate allergy. So I have a cocoa allergy. Um, I I can eat white chocolate, no problem. So it's not cocoa butter I'm allergic to. It's something else in cocoa that I'm allergic to. It's fine. I can eat it. It's not like I have to completely stay away from it. But if I eat too much, I will get migraines. So sometimes that combined with all the milk and stuff will trigger a migraine. Usually that's what happens. Is I eat too much of something I'm allergic to, I end up with a migraine the next day. That was not the case today. I didn't really eat a lot of like milk products or anything like that yesterday. I just randomly get migraines sometimes, and this is what happened. It was a sinus pressure and migraine. And unfortunately, this is another bad thing. Unfortunately, I can only take like maybe 2 doses of ibuprofen a day, because if I take too much ibuprofen, I have an aspirin allergy as well. And that's a little bit more severe. I kind of pay attention to that. I try not to take more than 2 doses of ibuprofen in a given day. If it doesn't get rid of the headache at that point, I'm suffering the rest of the day. So, because for some reason we don't have any Tylenol in there. Yes, I have an aspirin allergy. I take ibuprofen, but I don't have any Tylenol in the house. Yeah, I'm not always the smartest, but ibuprofen is usually the only thing that works, and I can take a little bit of it. As long as I don't take too much, I'm usually good. Yeah, the aspirin allergy, that was a fun one to find out. A little bit of a story. I guess you guys like these stories. But the way I found out about my aspirin allergy is, let me backtrack to high school. Because when I was in high school, I kept getting headaches from having too much chocolate. And my mom has an aspirin allergy as well. Don't ask how I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So we always had Tylenol at the house. And one of my teachers told me that she took ibuprofen. So I started taking ibuprofen for my headaches. Because I'm also allergic to certain cleaning chemicals in that. Like, at Walmart, I can't work in the chemical department at all. Because if I'm over there too long, I start itching. And I have been known at work to break out in hives from handling certain boxes of chemicals and that. So I just stay away from that department. Unless I'm shopping, then I know what to get. But, So, I'm over there. I'm shopping. Okay, so in high school, we used a lot of cleaning chemicals because I was at Tri Rivers and I did culinary arts. So all the fumes from that were giving me headaches. And I probably was eating chocolate and other stuff I wasn't supposed to. So everything compounded together. I was getting a lot of headaches. So I was taking a lot of ibuprofen. So sometimes in the middle of the night, I wake up and I would feel awful. It's like aspirin with me, you have trouble breathing, which is like something, I want to say anaphylactic shock, but I'm not sure of the medical terminology, but I have trouble breathing. It feels like a weird creeping sensation under my skin. I'm itching. And I'd wake up and I wouldn't know what was going on. So usually I just go sit in the bathroom until it passed, and then I go back to bed. Fortunately, I wake up with it. I don't know what would wake me up, but I'd wake up and that. So that was never fun. But I didn't know what caused it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't tell my parents because my mom is kind of the overprotective kind. Well, she's not. She wanted us to be independent, but she's a little bit overprotective at times. So when you get sick, she would worry and all this. And I've had like many different health things over the years that are, none of them were major, not like cancer or anything. I was just, I was her baby. So I was the only child she gave birth to. I'm the firstborn. My sister's adopted. So I'm a baby in that sense. But I wasn't treated like the baby except when I got sick. And I always got more sick than my sister. So, but anyway, so I didn't know what that was. So, working at Walmart, I was working in the clothing department, and then I was working somewhere else, and I was in the TLE department, the Tire and Lube Express, and I was writing up cars, and they didn't like how I was doing it, so I had to transfer out. So I went to, no, that wasn't it. I went to unloading for some reason. Oh, I stepped down as department manager. Okay, I was forced to step down, let's be honest, but, and I went to unloading, which I loved unloading. And I worked with this guy named Rick. And one day I had a headache and I didn't have anything on me. I was just going to go buy some. And he's like, oh, here, just take 2 aspirin. I'm like, okay. Not thinking anything about it. It kicked in. I didn't have to worry about the headache after that. My throat was almost swelling up. It was like 100 times worse than the little minor, like, ibuprofen, aspirin, things I had. Okay, my cat's playing with the camo chair in the other room. I have a recliner in the other room, and I just looked over and it was going winking, winking, winking. And I was like, what's the cat doing? But anyway, so he gave me the aspirin. And like I said, it's 100 times worse than like my usual, than it was like when in high school. So my throat was like almost swelling up. It was irritated throat. I had this weird sensation under my skin and the itching, and finally it worked out my system. Fortunately, it doesn't last long, but it is scary as all get out when it happens. I figured out pretty quickly what it was because I put 2 and 2 together because I knew ibuprofen had aspirin in it, and I'd just taken 2 pure aspirin. And Rick was very apologetic about that. And I'm like, Rick, I didn't know. I'm used to finding out about new allergies. I have so many allergies. They just kind of pop up every now and then. I find a new one. I'm like, oh, great. Another one. So, yeah, that's how I found out about my aspirin allergy. Like I said, it's scary. It's on my medical records. So, yeah. It's not the funnest thing in the world. And I don't worry about it too much. I try not to worry about my allergies, all my different ones, because, you can't. It's just, if I worried about them, I wouldn't enjoy myself, and I'm not going to drive myself nuts like that. I have allergies. I deal with them as they come up. Like right now at work, it's chocolate candy season. This might be because I had a little too much chocolate. As you can see, I have a nice little cold sore. Another thing that'll happen if I have too much chocolate. But I can have some, and I know my limit. And I try to explain that to my coworkers. It's like, hey, I can have it, but I can only have so much. So they're like, so every now and then they're like, hey, there's chocolate in the break room. Great. I'm taking a break from chocolate right now because of my allergies. I can't have it right now. They're like, oh, right. Sorry. We forgot. I'm like, oh. They mean well. You want to come up here and say hi? Yeah. You want to see it, Ernie? This is my little troublemaker. Hey. Yeah. This is Ernie. He's my baby. He's my orange tabby. His brother's around here somewhere. But yeah. That's me and my allergies and that, but it's life. I've had to deal with it all my life, and so I've just gotten to the point where I'm used to it. And maybe talking about it helps you guys with some of your stuff you have to deal with. I just always have had them, and it's not like it's anything new. It's always fun when I find new allergies. But yeah, it's along with the ADHD, it's just something I've always had to deal with. And I'm not going to list off all of them because if I do, you'll be like, what can you eat? Surprisingly, gluten and peanuts. It's like all these people are like, I'm allergic to peanuts and I'm allergic to this. I'm like, yeah, great. I'm allergic to aspirin and penicillin. Then they're like, what? Yeah. They're like, how can you be allergic to those two? I'm like, I am. That's why I don't like blue cheese. It has too much mold in it. And penicillin is a derivative of mold. I have mold allergy and I'm allergic to penicillin. They go together. It makes sense. Because if I really focused on how much my allergies affect my life, I'd probably cry, and I can't do that. Nobody wants to be around a person who's like, well, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this because of this. Okay. Yeah. I can still go. I mean, it does stink sometimes because I do love the taste of chocolate, but I do know, but I can enjoy it on occasion. So it makes it all better. Okay, we ready to wrap up the video? Okay. He's still here. He's happy. He has my lap. All right. Thank you guys for putting up with the little tirade, little story about my allergies. I'll try not to go into them too much because, like I said, you guys don't need to know all that. They're just something I deal with. I don't have eczema or anything like that. I just have, I guess it's technically a mental disease since it's ADHD, but I don't really consider it a mental disease. So, I mean, I have my issues, but who doesn't have issues? I have a daughter who has no like ADHD or anything else, but she has her own set of issues that I'm trying to deal with. And she's considered normal by textbooks. And it's like, yeah, she's not normal. Not, and she doesn't have like all the other issues my boys have. So it's just like, okay, whatever. We'll just, nobody's normal. Nobody, and if I can make somebody else feel normal by talking about my problems, that's what I'm here for. God put me here to uh, talk about him and his word and stuff. And I also feel like he gave me these issues for a reason. And I have to, if I can help somebody else feel better about them, so be it. I'll talk to you guys later. God bless you and keep you. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, Ernie, you're in the way.